Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and the Bright Life podcast. Today, let's talk about how to connect to your perfect fit humans, the ones that are going to be reading your book one day, or listening to your podcast, or contributing to your nonprofit or your movement. I thought it would be fun to blend both the personal development side and a little bit more of my corporate business background side, and even what I did in my own businesses of working with global brands. So for those of you who don't know, what I did for my own businesses is I would help global brands create content, so write things for their websites, their blog posts, their guides, ebooks, you name it. And one of the things that we often started with is how to really resonate with their audience. And so I wanted to share some of this with you, like the inner workings of it, because I think if you are trying to share something in the world and you're finding that it's either falling flat or you're at a loss for ideas on what to say to your people, this can really alleviate a lot of that. So I'm going to pull from chapter 3 of my brand new book, which is called Shine Bright. Chapter 3 is called Connecting to Your Humans. And the second chapter, which is the last podcast episode I did, we talked about how to discover your message. And so Chapter 3 bridges that gap by saying once you have your message, now how do you actually go and connect with your humans, the ones who are going to be the ones who get it, the ones who are going to look forward to you showing up on Facebook Live or on Instagram, the ones who are going to write to you and thank you for changing their lives. And so let's get into it. Let's share a few of the things. If this resonates or is interesting to you, then definitely check out the book for more of this. Obviously, I'm not going to share the full book in one podcast episode, but I will just share a little nugget from the chapter to give you a taste of it and see if it's something that resonates. And if it does, it is on Amazon or Audible or Kindle. I narrate the audiobook, so if you like listening via podcast, then you might love the audiobook because it's me. I get to read it the way I wrote it, and when I was picturing you as I was writing on planes or on trains, wherever I was writing this book, as I thought of you and the voice I imagined, that is what you'll hear in the audio version. So definitely check that out if you're interested. And if you already have it, leave a review so I can give you a shout out in a future podcast episode or video. And thank you for being here and supporting this work and love of mine. Okay, so let's talk about how to connect to your perfect fit humans. Now, I know that as you're writing or thinking of people or coming up with content ideas for your business, for your podcast, for your movement, sometimes you can hit a wall, right? We've all hit that wall. Anyone who's doing creative work knows that feeling. And I think the way to get out of it is to know deeply and empathetically who you are serving and to know in detail what transformation you provide and what their life will look like before working with you or after working with you. And when you are writing content or doing a podcast, to think about that, to even doing a sales page, you name it, to think about that, because that is what's really going to speak their language, show that you see them, that you get what they're up against, and that you are the person to bring them through it. All right, so one of the things that I would do with my clients when I was more in the copywriting world, but that I do now for any other project I'm working on, is I try and get intimately familiar with what their life looks like. Let's talk about before and after. Okay, so meaning this, let's say that you are wanting to help someone with their health. So I'll give you the health example, but then think about this for whatever your industry or field is, because it exists for all of them. So what you could say at a very high generic level that isn't going to connect with anyone is, I'll help you get healthier. And people are like, okay, well, great, that sounds fine. But then what they're going to do is they're going to go look for the other people or coaches that use more detail because they connect more deeply and they affirm that they know exactly what their situation is like and what they're up against. So instead of something like, I help you get healthier, or insert whatever maybe broader, more generic phrase you've been using is, you want to speak to the human, to the individual on the other side. And so that could look like, I know how it feels or you could write this on your sales page or do an episode about this, whatever it may be. But you're like, I get what it looks like on this before side of your health journey. Maybe you aren't sleeping as well. Maybe you are bringing frustration home to your spouse and to your children, and you're irritable when you don't mean to be, but you just feel so uncomfortable in your own skin. Maybe you go into the swimsuit section of the store and you've cried in a dressing room because you feel so uncomfortable in your body when you see yourself in those lights. Maybe you struggle when you walk through the aisles of the store because everything says healthy and all natural, and you've lost touch with what actually makes you feel energetic and strong. And it feels like no matter what you do, you just can't seem to find your stride. Okay, so I almost want to stop there because as I'm saying it and just making up these examples off the top of my head, it's starting to feel really personable and connected even for me. I'm starting to feel like a visceral response to all those things and feel how heavy those things can be. But the reason that you want to do this is because you're actually then showing someone you have been where they've been. You see what they're up against, and they're so much more likely to, if they read that on a sales page, if they hear that on a podcast that you are speaking on, if they read that in, I don't know, a page of a nonprofit and they see that you are the one talking to them exactly what they're facing, they're going to be like, that's the person who gets it. That's the person that I believe and know can help me, versus this other person that's just saying, let me help you get healthier. It's easy, right? So it's about, I think, empathy, and it's about meeting someone really where they are and showing them that you deeply get it. And it's about really having someone feel seen. So instead of just being another person or a generic group of people, you're cutting to the heart of the exact client and person that you want to serve and support, and letting them know that you're the person for the job. So that's one way that you can use detail to speak about the before. But you can do the same thing for after. And you don't want to leave someone hanging in the before phase of their journey, because as you could hear and feel when I was saying it, that can be kind of a lot. And so you actually do want to bridge the gap to that more empowered side of things. And so for a health example, instead of get healthier, it could look like, you know exactly what to eat to feel your best. You are no longer in this struggle zone of feeling like no matter what you try, it doesn't work. You have finally hit your stride. You feel confident. Anything you put on, you feel like glides on your body, and you feel fit, and you feel healthy, and you feel strong. You also feel confident. You bring that confidence home to your family. You now feel more excited to cook for your children and help bring them up in a healthy lifestyle. Your spouse has noticed the difference. It feels like when you're first dating, not so much because of how you look, but because your confidence is really fully back and shining. You are sleeping through the night. You feel energy through the day. You no longer need the coffee to get you through. So again, I'm just rattling off examples that come to me as I'm talking, just to you, off the top of my head. But can you start to see that someone reading this goes, oh my gosh, she gets it. That is exactly what I want, and that's what I have been hoping that someone could help me with. So what I would really encourage you to do for whatever your example is, whether you are trying to help someone get healthy or start a business or leave corporate or learn how to, learn the tuba or whatever it is, what is their situation before working with you? What is life like? And then what would it be like after? And then all of those examples start to become the things that you could break into social media posts, into podcast episodes. In my book, Shine Bright, I talk about how to actually use those to become your social media posts or episodes or chapters of your book or parts of your keynote. But you can break them into tips for each thing, for tricks, for stories, for experiences, for testimonials, for all of those little aspects of life that you started to see for your perfect fit human, or that you want to help and change their life. Each of those can become something that you talk about in a post or another form of content that educates, that helps, that empowers, that shows them the way that out of whatever situation that they're in or towards whatever situation that they want to be in. So again, we dive so much deeper into this in my book, Shine Bright, and I give completely different examples. So I think I give ones more for people that are dreaming of leaving their career, and you can see things like that. You can see how to break them into those content posts and ideas. But I wanted to give you just a little taste here today and see if this is something that interests you, and also give you some ideas for how you can feel like you're actually like landing with someone. So if you feel like when you write or post now, it's kind of like crickets and no one responds and no one really like resonates, this is a way to really connect with your people and to take it one step further and to help someone on the other side feel seen. It's not about so much exposing the issues that they're up against and the weaknesses that they're facing. I think it's like I think of it like a conversation with a girlfriend, where if you go out with a girlfriend to dinner and, she says, well, how are you? And you both go, oh, fine. Like, how are you? The conversation doesn't really go anywhere. No one leaves feeling recharged and rejuvenated and like seen and supported. But if you can have that exchange that says, actually, like, life is really tough in this one area, and she can see you in that and she can give you specifics to help you through, you leave feeling so much more nourished, so much more validated as a human. You have released almost this shame that you've been holding inside, and you've allowed it to go out into the world where you see that there's nothing shameful about it at all, that there's another human that gets it and that can hold you through it. And so I always think of my writing like that, like just meeting another human in their humanity and calling out what they're already facing and just showing that you're someone who's been through it and it gets it. And the only reason I can give that health example for those of you that have been here a long time is because so much of my entrepreneurial journey started with the health side. Like, I struggled with binge eating in college, and so I got certified in nutrition to learn more about how to fuel my body. And once I did, I was like, I have to tell this to everyone. This makes such a difference. But I knew exactly how to say where someone was before and after, because I was that person. And so you don't want to talk to everyone in the world, because then it lands with no one. You really want to write and connect with the people that are going to be the ones that you just come home and you are like, I'm so lucky I get to do this work with these people. These are the exact kinds of people I want to serve. And I know exactly like what to say all the time, any day, because I have endless ideas by just knowing what they're up against and what they're facing in their mornings, their afternoons, their evenings, with their relationships, with their finances, you name it. So again, hopefully that's not too much for one episode. It just gets you thinking and inspired to serve your people again. And again, if you want to learn more, then check out Shine Bright, my brand new book. And so thankful for you being here and supporting this work, and like just sharing your heart and message with the world as well. It's making all of us better, learning from you, hearing from you, and seeing you show up in the way that you want to make a difference. So never doubt that it's making a difference, even in ways you can't see. Like, you never know who is reading your post, who's getting an idea that they needed from you, who's feeling inspired to try again. So I'm just really proud of you for being out there in the arena and giving it a shot.